All right, good afternoon. Today we are working on PO26. So this is a power objective. We really need to understand this. I can find a part, whole, or percent using an equation or proportion. So in every situation involving a percentage, there'll be three components: the part, the whole, and the percent. The part is represented by a P, the whole is represented by a W, and the percent is represented by the percent sign. So in each example below, we're going to identify what is the part, the whole, and the percent. So we're just going to write underneath it. So the percent is kind of easy, right? Percent has the percentage sign next to it. So we're just going to write a percent under that. So then we have 72 is 90% of 80. What's the whole? How much is there all together? Ethan? The 80, that's our whole. The part is the 72. That's part of the 80. So 16% of 30 is 4.8. Again, we know that percentage goes underneath the percentage. So 16% of 30 is 4.8. What is the whole? Paul? 30? Yeah, the 30. That's how many that we're starting with. That's the total amount. So 4.8 is the part that we're finding. That's the 16% is the 4.8. So now let's look at our fractions. All of a sudden it's not so easy. I don't see that percentage sign for me to put my percent under. What here is the percentage? Katie? 80 hundredths is our percentage. We know that's 80%. 80 over 100 is 80%. That's our percentage. Then we have 20 over 25, which is our whole. Ethan? The 25, that denominator is out of how many all together? What's the possibilities? How much? So our part is there's only 20 of the 25. There's only 20. So that numerator is your part. The part is the numerator, the whole is the denominator. So finding a part, whole, or percent can be set up in multiple ways. We know that there's always different ways we can do our math. So let's see how we're going to find it. So if we have a proportion, we're going to do that part over the whole equals the percent over 100. So if you want to set it up as a proportion, okay, how did we go from here, from the whole to the 100? How do we go from the part to the percent? Then we have the equation. The part equals the percent times the whole. So find the part, whole, or percent using both methods above. Show your work. So those of us that want to use a separate piece of paper, make sure you keep it with your binder. So when I'm walking around, I can see your work. If you get something wrong, we can see where you went wrong. Or if somebody else gets something wrong, you can compare it and help them see where they went wrong. So if we're going to look at what number is 35% of 70, how would I do that doing the part, whole proportion? How should I set that up if I want to do my proportion? Maddie?
You would do length, or length, and then with 70 under that.
Yeah, because that's our whole. It's out of 70.
And equals 35 over 100.
So instead of leaving it a blank, because we are in algebra,
Oh yeah, no, I
Prealgebra,
was just saying that.
what should I put?
You should put N or part.
I'm going to put a P.
Yeah.
Because remember that P means part. So I'm going to put P over 70 equals 35 over 100. Now I want to solve it for the P. So what do you think I need to do? How should I solve that for the P? If it's P over 70, what do you think I should do, Garrison?
You can times percent times the whole.
The percent times the whole. So to get the P by itself, since we're dividing, we want to do the opposite, which is multiplying, right? We did this a couple objectives ago. So that would cancel out that, and the P would be by itself, but what I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other side. So 35 times 70 gets us, what is it? 2,450 over 100. So then 2,450 divided by 100 would be what? 24.5. So that is the part. 35% of 70 is 24.5. So you can set it up as that proportion. If we're going to do it using the equation, we're going to set it up. We don't know the part. That's what we want to find. So part equals percent, which is 0.35 times the whole, which is 70. Doing that same math. 35 times 70, 0.35 times 70. It's just when we did the proportion, we had to divide out that 100. But we're going to get the same answer because we're doing the same math, just slightly different. You see how we did that? So if we're looking at 48 is what percent of 120? How would I set that up? If I want to do the proportion setup, Paisley? First, you want to figure out where your part, your whole, and your percentage is, right? So what's my part?
48.
48 is the part. What's the whole?
20.
And where's the percentage?
That
what we want to find, right? So we know our part. So we know the numerator. We know our whole. That's our denominator. It equals the percent over 100. So if we want to get the percent by itself, we're going to multiply by 100 and multiply by 100. So now we have the percent all alone. And we have 4,800 over 120. So we have to divide that out, which is 48. So our percentage equals 48, right? No. Sorry, I was looking at his notes. You're right, it's 40. I was looking at the wrong part of the notes. So 4,800 divided by 120 would give us that 40%. If we're going to do the equation, we know our part, that's 48. We don't know the percent. And we're going to multiply that by the whole, 120. So if we're multiplying by 120 here, what do we have to do? We have to divide it, right? So we're gonna divide by 120 and divide by 120. 48 divided by 120 gives us 0.4. We want to turn that into a percentage. 0.4 is the same thing as 40%. So if you want to find the percentage, if it's saying what is the percent, you have to change your decimal to the percent. Paul,
So, for the next page, you only have to do one after, right?
can we get through this page first? Okay, let's look at 18. Is 25% of what number? How would I set up my proportion, Nathan?
For the proportion, you would do part, which would be 18 over W, and then 25 over 100.
Good. How am I going to get that W by itself? That W is in the denominator. Oh, goodness. Any guesses onto what we do? What do you think, Paisley? So I'm going to multiply 18. Is that going to get W alone? Doesn't. Maddie?
Multiply 18 by 4. Wait, no.
I can simplify this. 25 hundredths is the same as 1/4. So that gives us easier numbers to work with. Colin?
Divide by W.
Mhm.
But we don't know what W is.
You guys want to know how to do this?
Yes.
This is new. We want to get the W on the top, right? We don't want the W on the bottom. So how are we going to get the W on the top?
You divide
Well, we're dividing by W right now. So we're going to multiply by W. So that'll get us 18 equals W over 4. Because we multiplied by W, divided by W. So we multiplied so they cancel out. Multiply by the W, and we get W over 4, 1/4 of W. Now, I'm dividing by 4, so I can multiply by 4. And so W equals 72. Oh, we are doing so much algebra on that equation. Woo. We have the W on the bottom. We want the W on the top. So we have to multiply by the W, and it just brings it over to this side. If it's easier to do the equation for a problem like this, do that, because this is new algebra for us. If you don't understand it, it's okay, because we're not quite there yet. So look at the equation way. Our part is the 18. This is our percent. We want to know the whole. So the part is 18 equals percentage times, oh wait, I know the percentage. Let me write that in. The percentage, 0.25 times the whole. 18 divided by 0.25 gives us what? It gives us 72. Because if we have 18 divided by 0.25, 25 can't go into 18, so we have to put that decimal there. So 25 can go into 187 times. That gives us 175. Bring down that 0. 25 can go into 50 2 times. So we had that decimal point here, but we have the decimal point here. So we move that decimal point over. And that's how we get our 72. Okay? It takes time. It takes work working with these things to get comfortable with it. New math is always fun. Okay? Expanding and growing our brains. So let's look at the directions on the next page. Oy, come on. Oh my goodness. We just have to erase it all. So we've got word problems coming up. Most situations for which we use these methods are real life situations. Answer each question below, showing your work. Round decimal answers to the nearest tenth. Round it at the end. Round the answer. So we're going to wait till we get to the end before we round it. Okay? Says it in the directions. Wait till the end to round it to the tenth. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find your part, your whole, and your percent, and then use which method works for you. So if your bookshelf has 150 books in it, 20% are on the top shelf, 50% are on the middle shelf, and 30% are on the bottom shelf. How many books are on each shelf? Andrea? Tell me how to do it. Walk me through it. Well, you had to do something to find the answers. The answers didn't just pop into your head. What did you do to find the answer?
Well, first, I figured out what 50% was.
Okay, so she looked at that 50% and said 50% of 150 equals what? 75.
And then I did what 40% of 75 was.
Why did you do 40% of 75?
Well, you could also do 20%, and that without doing it, I got it on 30.
So if you were to do 20% of 150, she got 30.
And then I added it all up just to make sure it was correct.
So for this one, there's actually multiple different ways you could go about solving it. Okay, this one, it's not as straight cut as the other ones where we're putting in the part, the whole, and the percentage and using it. This one, it's, yeah, my brain automatically went to, oh, well, 50% of 150, I know that's half of it, right? So that one was easy. And then the 20%, we know 20% of 150, so that would be finding that 20%, 150, yeah, 0.2, because 20% is 0.2. So that's how you get the 30. So that's doing math that we did a few objectives ago. But let's look at one that's using methods from today. Your homeroom has sold 120 raffle tickets, which is 40% of your goal. How many tickets is your goal for your homeroom? So what's my part? Chase?
420.
Yeah, that's how many I actually sold. That's my part. What's my whole? In the problem, what's the whole? How many tickets is the goal for your homeroom? That's the whole. Your goal is the whole. Percentage is 40%. So if we're going to do our proportions, we know the part, 120. We don't know the whole. That's what we need to find. Equals 40 over 100. So remember, if that W is on the bottom, you have to multiply it, bring it over here. You multiply by W, and then you're gonna divide it out. So it takes a little bit more work. Or you could do the equation. How would I set it up if I was doing the equation? Chase?
You do, 120 equals 40% times this one.
Which one looks easier? Doing the proportion or the equation? The equation looks easier to me. Okay, you don't have to do everything as a proportion. If it looks confusing, switch over and do it as the equation. If I'm going to do the equation side, I know if I'm multiplying by 0.4, I need to divide by 0.40. Divide by 0.40. 120 divided by 0.4. Okay, so you don't have to just do one method the whole time. You can go back and forth if one is easier than the other on different problems. Be comfortable using these equations. So we have this page and the next binder page. Because these are word problems, they take up a lot of space on the page. Okay, so there's really just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems on this page left to do. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 problems on the next page. So yeah, it's 2 binder pages, but it's 13 problems for you to do. You can do it. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye to my friends at home. I hope you are doing well. Bye-bye.